Hi everyone, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to tune a guitar, in this case a bass guitar, but actually you could use this principle and all the tips that I have and all my guests who have come on board to help us with this lesson, since I'm not the sole authority on guitar tuning. I'm more of a piano player, as you all know. So I've got some of my close friends, incredible musicians from the industry playing guitar, bass, violin, and so on, and also some technicians, sound engineers, people who repair musical instruments, people who set up the actions of instruments and basically customize it for musicians to play. So I've got a lot of people's input. So you'll have a physics perspective, which is important. You'll have an electronics perspective. You'll have a musical perspective. You'll have a new school perspective with all the fancy gadgets that we use to tune, and also the old school perspective where you're just, under a banyan tree with a singer and you have a gig to play, and what do you do to tune and just survive. So all of my guests have come on board and given some very, very important tips. So you need to watch till the very end without fail. I will also give you a few of the tips I use to tune, which might be a bit different from regular guitar players. So before we get started, it'll be nice if you can consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for regular notifications. Let's get cracking. So first off, a few of my tips would be: number one, if you're playing a bass guitar, it's helpful to use a tuner.
Tuner that you could get is a plug-in tuner. A plug-in tuner basically means something where you can plug in your instrument directly into a tuner. So I'll show you something that I use. This is called a Polytune Mini. This is like supremely accurate because you just have to plug in your instrument and then this kind of directly just guides you to the tuner option. So apart from this, the other options are also to use clip-on tuners.
So right now I have this Boss Chromatic Tuner TU10. This is generally what works for me for my 6-string bass and bass guitars in general. If you need a tuner. Now, if you don't have a tuner, the techniques which I use basically, since I rely a lot on my ear, would be, I'm a piano player. So what I would do is I'll play a note, B flat, and find B flat. And what I like to do is also play a chord. Play an octave of that note. Okay, maybe a minor. There we go, B flat. So that's a good way to stay in tune.
Typically, a start point is to check whether the two E's are sounding very close to each other. So you put the two E's together. If they're sounding more or less close to each other, that's one thing.
But I find the most reliable way to be when I'm plugged into an audio interface.
You can tune it through two ways. One at the bottom, which are called the fine tuners, and these are the pegs which to tune more, substantially.
Also, if the key of the song is, let's say, on a particular scale, let's say G, you can give yourself that piano power chord and play the scale. Sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. So that kind of ensures that you're in tune. You could also do intervals. Sa re sa ga sa ma sa pa sa da sa ni sa sa. So all of this is to stay in tune. So a lot of musicians even do octave checking. Things like that. Especially for the lower strings, because you can't really hear them. So all of this is more natural and with the instruments. So it's always nice if you have a keyboardist in your band. Or another way I like to tune my bass, especially because I'm more of a sessions musician, or a studio artist, is to tune it with the song itself. So as the song is being produced, you're going to have piano elements, you're going to have guitar elements. Sometimes those guitars may not be exactly in tune, so you need to tune to that person. So you should need to tune to what works best for the recording, right? Because if you have only one chance to nail it, and the bass guitar, especially my instrument, you can be very much exposed, because the lower you get, when it's off tune, it sounds horrible.
So the note over there on the 12th fret and the open note are the same. It's just that it's in a higher frequency. So if you know that that 12th fret note is the same, or it sounds the same as that open note, then you know it's in tune.
Unlike maybe an upper range instrument like a guitar or a banjo or a violin,
It's a good like practice to tune with both strings while playing both strings, so you can microtonally adjust each string and make sure it's a perfect fit. Other than that, I feel like practicing more. So with higher quality acoustic violins, most of them, I guess we can see we have four fine tuners, but with high-end acoustic violins, there's only one fine tuner on the E string. But it's way more convenient to be able to fine tune with four strings on an electric than an acoustic, I would say.
it's kind of feel based and you can always kind of get around it by bending the strings. On a bass, it's very tough to bend a string. You can, but it's very tough. It's very easy on a guitar, on an electric guitar. So you need to be exactly fundamentally in tune. Now, the other challenge while tuning instruments like the bass or the guitar or any stringed instrument is new strings.
I mean, electric guitars, lead guitar and all, they can use 2-3 shows. Bass guitar, it will say up to 10 shows and all, more than 10 shows. When you change the guitar, new strings, no, that sound will be warmer.
But if I know that the guitar has new strings, I would tune it after every song.
So if the string set is new, you need to really kind of work with it. You need to play it a bit. What I like to do is play a bit before the recording and play hard. Play as hard as you can. Of course, there are some specific tips that you will find for during concert.
Keep pulling the string out like this. Pull the string out so it sets.
Challenges like if the strings break and so on. So that I leave to the other experts in this lesson.
If you have the experience of whether your guitar has, snapped a string, you always carry a backup guitar for a quick change, or carry backup strings, take about 2 to 3 minutes, quickly string it up and tune, and then it'll still remain in place.
And then you have, like, let's say you have a spare guitar and a tech, then it's amazing. So you can give your guitar to the tech, carry the spare guitar, and basically it will be seamless.
So another thing which works for me now, some musicians would do the open to fretted kind of tuning. So if you do A, you can kind of match and see if it's beating, if there's a kind of a weird rumble between the notes. That's one more option. The other thing I like to do with respect to tuning is use harmonics. So if you go to the 12th fret, the 12th fret will give you a note, G in this case, because it's the G string. So you get the G harmonic. Yes, you can even get the octave. I wouldn't trust the perfect fifth, but definitely this octave, because otherwise the harmonic won't even be, it won't even be rich. So now you got this harmonic, and the cool thing is, now either you play this, and now check this out, it's giving you can tune it right now, you don't have to kind of keep hitting, and that's something I would encourage you not to do. Don't overhit the strings. Like, don't tune a guitar like this, because your tuner is going to get busted, or not busted, your tuner will get confused. So give it a long note, and don't, especially on my kind of instrument, bass guitar, don't hit it too hard, because those initial harmonics which are there in the attack of the note will kind of make it wrong for the tuner. So just play it in a healthy way, not too soft, not too loud. So around here. Okay, and what you could do is check the tuner, but also use a harmonic. So now you can go to your string and adjust it properly. Okay, but with the harmonic. And I like to go a bit upper than the tonic. Okay, and then check with the open. Okay, and once it's fine, then I like to use my ear to play a minor third and then a major third. Of course, at this point, you should also check prior to buying your bass, ideally.
Build quality is important. I think the wood you use and all that matters. So this build quality is definitely important. How the guitar is set up, the neck, the quality of the wood on the neck, the tuning peg quality also is very important. And the entire nut is also an important. This generally is made out of bone china, different materials. So you have to figure out what materials the nut is made out of. The tuning pegs have to be of high quality, and the neck has to be of high quality.
Or you might want to just check with your instrument if the intonation is good. That means the pitch between the root and the fretted octave on the 12th fret are exactly the same. Okay.
So when it comes to intonation is nothing but your notes being precise on each and every single fret of all 6 strings. If your intonation is off, there are few possibilities. One could be your fretboard is bent, and the second thing could be your bridge adjustment on electric guitars. And if your strings are old, even then you will face intonation problems. You need to have good machine heads. Your fretboard needs to be straightened out before stringing it. A stringing procedure should be followed. You're not supposed to overlap the woundings when you're stringing a guitar. The best would be 3 to 4 wounds, and make sure the fretboard is straight to get the proper intonation setup done.
So harmonic tuning is really good, especially for the low notes, the B string. Yeah, it's in tune as per what it says, but you need to check with the song that you're playing. Also note that things get detuned as well. As you play a show, as you do a recording, every 30 minutes, I guess, for bass guitars, you'd want to retune, or maybe 15 minutes for an actual guitar. Coming to tuners, you have different types of tuners. Like I said, you can start by using the very own piano right in front of you if you have one. That's the ultimate tuner. Or you can tune with respect to the song, with respect to other musicians. But if you can afford a tuner, you can get something like this. I recommend clip-on tuners, which process the wood vibration. So as the wood is vibrating, it will tune. This is great when you're on stage where there's a lot of other disturbances and other musicians playing as well. Okay. Also, some musicians tend to rely on a processor based tuner where you connect your guitar to a processor, or even a separate unit, which then gets bypassed and also mutes your guitar. So that can be very handy on stage, because you don't want your audience to hear you tuning, right? That's ridiculous. It'll sound very bad. You can also rely on software tuners if you're recording on a DAW, but get yourself a really good tuner with a lot of precision when it tunes, especially for the lower notes. Okay, so that is basically in a nutshell about tuning an instrument. Hope you found the lesson useful. And the thing which you should never tune any stringed instrument ever again, if you have, just don't do it. Just stop doing it. Would be a cell phone app. Don't ever do that. Don't even think about it, because that's going to pick up the frequency of your fan in your room and your guitar, and it's absolute nonsense. So just uninstall your cell phone app which tunes. It's of no value, trust me. Get an actual tuner. You get things for under 1,000 rupees these days, very, very affordable. Get a clip-on, get a plug-in, or use a software app on the computer, on the DAW, which processes it well enough, and that's about that.
Make sure to detune the guitar when you're not playing it often. If you're leaving it in tune all the time, the fretboard tends to bend off. On acoustics, even the body starts bulging off. All these happen due to over-tension of strings. Don't leave it inside the bag all the time. If you're leaving it in a hard case or a bag, have some silica gels in, and wall mount would be a better option, like the best option for guitars.
Then electronic wise also, this part also, they have to pick up and all, no? They have to clean it properly, so this surface and all.
On electric guitars, it is the bridge and the tuning keys. On acoustic guitar, I would say only the tuning keys. Again, depends on the strings. So again, it depends on how you string it. So the ball end has to be locked with your bridge properly. So you have something called a bridge pin. The bridge pin has to hold the ball end tight enough. If you have the strings stuck inside the guitar a little loose and then you start winding it, it's going to stretch out. So you need to make sure that it's tight enough, and then check your machine heads. If they're good, you don't have tuning issue. The tuning related would be a drop tuning issue, where the guitar gets detuned very frequently. So the reason being, the machine heads, the tuning keys could be faulty. or when you have old rusted strings, that is when you get the strings detuned. They don't stay in tune, and the tone gets a little muddy when the strings are rusted, and you also tend to get intonation issues.
So thanks a ton for watching our lesson on tuning a stringed instrument. Hope you found it useful. Let us know which tip or which point you found maybe eye-opening in the comments, or maybe you have your own methodologies of tuning a stringed instrument, whatever it might be. To conclude, the most obvious thing which I might have forgotten is remember the notes that you're tuning. On a bass, this is the 5 string, so B, E, A, D, G. And on a banjo, it would be high G. Then, it changes accordingly. You basically get a G major chord on a banjo, right? So make sure you are in tune before you play any music, before you jam with people. The best first impression you want to give to people is, are you in tune? Then, of course, are you in time? And then, of course, you have to probably smile and enjoy the music a bit more. That's about it. Now I'm just rambling. So anyway, thanks a ton for watching the video. Thanks a ton for supporting us on YouTube. You'll support us even more if you hit that subscribe and turn on the bell for regular notifications. Do consider following us on Patreon as well for regular notes, notation, MIDI files, and other supplementary resources. Thanks a ton. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.